Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Spartan Stadium. Indeed, there is women's soccer action tonight. Spartan Stadium women's soccer as Castleton will be hosting the Engineers of RPI. I'm Jack Healey on board with Mike Coppinger, who's the assistant varsity girls soccer coach at Rutland High. And Cam Clark is our producer here at Spartan Stadium. The game tonight on PEGTV, Channel 20 on the Rutland Comcast system. Mike Valentine and Chris McCormick, the producers at PEGTV. And our camera people tonight, Brian Bashaw and Lily Derbyshire. And I'm not sure if what you are getting on the screen does the conditions justice, if you will. It is a driving rainstorm and I can't estimate the wind, but it's at least a 30-mile-an-hour wind going left to right as we look out. Our camera angle is on the side of the press box for this particular game tonight. Generally speaking, we're on the other side, but the camera people are out in the elements if that were to be the case. So they're nice and dry and hopefully out of the wind as well as we get set for women's soccer action for the first time this year. For us, as far as video casting the game is concerned, the Spartans 4-2-1 coming off a 7-0 victory against Linden State in the North Atlantic Conference. 7 different Castleton players scored, 11 different players registered points, and after a tightly contested first half that ended 1-0, the Spartans scored 6 goals in the second half to seal the victory. Castleton outscoring opponents 20-5 in the second half of games this year. Now, freshman Mallory Costello leads the team in goals with 6 points with 14. Sammy Ritter and Hannah Corkum have each scored 3 goals for the Spartans. Emily Osmer and Jenna Bostwick have 2 apiece. Kelsey Garceau leads the team in assists with 5. That's tied for number 11 in the country, by the way, and has also netted 2 goals. And of the Spartans' 25 goals, 17 have been scored by freshmen. Castleton's freshman goalie tandem of Sarah Shilstone and Kaylee Newton has combined for 47 saves. Shilstone boasts a 2-2 record and an .824 save percentage. Newton is 2-0-1 with an .864 save percentage. Each have recorded 1 shutout. Shilstone, who gets the nod tonight against Smith, and Newton against Linden State as far as their shutouts are concerned. Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, RPI, enters the game 3-3, coming off a 5-1 victory over Utica. The Engineers led offensively by Gianna Bali, 3 goals and 1 assist, 7 points. Sarah Rothschild has 4 goals, 8 points. Nikki Goodsell, 3 goals, 3 assists, 9 points. The Engineers' big 3 combined for all 5 goals against Utica. RPI has started 2 goalies so far this year. Deanna Amoya started the Engineers' first 5 games, making 10 saves, allowing 6 goals, and posting a 2-3 record, including 1 shutout. And Marissa Sciolino earned the starting goal for RPI against Utica. She turned away 1 shot and allowed 1 goal in the victory. Amoya getting the starting nod in goal here tonight. Welcome to Mike Coppinger. Great to have you on board, Mike. You and Tim Smith will be dividing the soccer duties of this year. Tonight's game again on PEGTV. This is a driving rainstorm going on and a strong wind left to right. But first of all, great to have you on board. Second of all, the weather. I have to think with the wind, I don't know if you choose to have the wind at your back in the first half or not.
Well, Jack, I tell you, I've coached soccer for 11 years. I was a player in college. I was a player in high school for 3 years in high school and 2 years in college. And I tell you, I have never seen conditions like this before. This, unfortunately, and we've talked about it in the past, Jack, we do have a synthetic turf field here. Thank goodness for that, because it does help drain the water away from the field, the playing surface. You don't see puddles gathering. You see a little sheen right there. If you look on your screen, that's just a sheen coming off of the synthetic turf. It's actually not standing water. However, it will get slippery when the ball hits it. Fortunately, the players with their cleats will be able to grip in. But I got to tell you, I think I would go with the wind in the first half, hope to get a goal up or 2, and then just hang on from there. However, both these teams, Jack, in their last game showed that they can put up some goals. RPI with 5 goals in their last game. Of course, Castleton with 7 goals against Linden in their previous game. So weather like this tends to make the game sloppy. You're going to see a lot of defensive mistakes. Of course, it's hard for the goalie to handle the ball. We could see quite a few points go on the board.
All right, Chris Chapdelaine, the head coach for the Spartans, assisted by Randy Chadburn, now in his 3rd year. Chris is in his 8th year. Courtney Chadburn, a grad assistant coach. Courtney, the daughter of Randy Chadburn, in her 1st year. And well, Courtney Chadburn, we mentioned all the freshmen who have scored. This is a very young Spartan women's soccer team. Despite that, chosen to again win the North Atlantic Conference, chosen in the preseason poll. But it's tough to replace a player like Courtney Chadburn. And again, players do graduate, but Courtney's the 4-time NAC Player of the Year. She's won all kinds of other awards as well. But the freshmen so far have certainly stepped it up. And certainly the other players as well, knowing that they have to pick it up for the graduation of Courtney Chadburn, the most prolific scorer, we might add, and you were here to call it, the most prolific scorer in the history of Castleton soccer, men or women.
And those things come to pass, Jack. You only have so many years of eligibility to play, and she certainly will be missed. But I got to tell you, very excited to see some of these players and reading about their successes early on in the season. Very interested to see Costello put some goals on the board. She's proven that she can do that, leading the team right now for the Castleton Spartans. But let's not forget about the midfield and Sarah Ethier, who was just coming back as a senior this year, a great leader in the central part of the field, helped create a lot of the scoring opportunities for players in the past like Courtney Chadburn, and I'm sure he's going to do the same thing this year.
And you mentioned Sarah Ethier, one of the captains, along with Kelsey Lenny. Looking at the lineups, first of all, for RPI, and both teams will be introduced here in a matter of moments. RPI in the black jerseys, red pants, the white numerals, Castleton in the home uniforms with the green numerals, Castleton to your right, RPI to your left. RPI will be starting in goal, number 00, Deanna Amoya, 5'6" junior from Tappan, New York. Midfielder, number 6, Alex Shaw, 5'8" junior from Jameson, Pennsylvania. And number 8 is Kirsten Bombardier, a defender, a 5'8" senior, one of the captains. She is a Vermonter. She's from Colchester, Vermont. Number 9, Sarah Rothschild, a forward, 5'7" junior from Manlius, New York. Number 12 is Gianna Abali, a forward, 5'3" junior from Old Tappan, New Jersey. Number 15 is Taylor Karitko, midfielder, 5'8" sophomore from Tampa, Florida. Number 18 is Rachel Tietzen, a forward, 5'8" junior from Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. Number 21 is Brittany Van Groe, one of the captains, a defender, 5'5" junior from Fairlawn, New Jersey. And also number 22, Brooke Van Bosch, midfielder, 5'7" junior from Loganville, Georgia. And number 28, Shannon McGuire, forward, 5'7" senior from Randolph, New Jersey. For the Spartans, starting in goal, number 1, Sarah Shillstone, 5'5" freshman from Deer Park, New York. Number 8, Kelsey Garceau, forward, 5'1" senior from St. Albans, Vermont. Number 12, Emily Osmer, a forward, 5'5" freshman from Wallingford, Vermont. Played her high school soccer at nearby Mill River Union High School. Number 13 is Sammy Ritter, a midfielder, 5'4" freshman from Wantage, New Jersey. Number 14 is Jessica Phillips, defender, 5'5" freshman from Drewsville, New Hampshire. Number 15 is Healey Roberge, a defender, 5'3" junior from Southington, Connecticut. Number 17 is Jenna Bostwick, midfielder, 5'7" sophomore from Pembroke, Massachusetts. And number 19 is Kelsey Lenny, midfielder, 5'5" junior from Coxsackie, New York. Again, Castleton at 4-2-1 on the year overall, 1-0 in the NAC. This is obviously a non-league game, and the Engineers of RPI at 3-3. Now, you mentioned when I was talking about the weather conditions, Mike Coppinger, about the what we see there. It's actually behind the players, kind of a reflection from the lights. That's part of that's what we would have even if the field were dry, so that's not standing water. Maybe the ball would skid just a bit even on artificial turf surface. Now, you're a goalie. You played soccer. To me, the key is the wind, not necessarily the rain, because the wind is really blowing hard from left to right as we look out. And you said that you would take the wind in the first half, try to get a goal or two. And
I was coming from the perspective as a coach and wanting to score some goals. Being a goalkeeper, the ball's going to hang up there as it's being crossed, from left to right across the field. It's going to hang up there a heck of a lot more and play some tricks on you. So, it's one of those things. Every coach has their own little way, a little philosophy of looking at it.
Kirk Abrahamson, Kixie Austin, two of the officials. I didn't catch the other one, Mike, but we know them by sight. But before the start of tonight's women's soccer matchup at Castleton Sporting Stadium, our national anthem. One thing I noticed, Mike, as we just did the playing of our national anthem here at Spartan Stadium, when we first went on the air, the wind was blowing at about 30 miles per hour, gusty winds from left to right. But as you saw the flag during the national anthem, the wind has calmed down considerably. It did give you a good look at the rain coming down. Instead of coming down sideways, it was coming down straight down. So maybe the wind will not be as much of a factor as I initially thought maybe 10 minutes ago.
Well, I think it's going to gust pretty much the whole evening, and it's something definitely that field player, as a coach, as a goalie, you're going to have to really watch, because either way, it's going to make the ball do strange things, and it's very unpredictable out there.
Consumption of possession of alcoholic beverages is prohibited. Please cure all participants on field of play and enjoy the spirit of the game.
Here's a look at the Castleton Spartans in the white and green, and the camera angle. People that have been with us for the last couple of years, generally speaking, the camera is across from us, but undercover here tonight on the same side as we are. And so it looks like RPI will be going against the wind. The RPI will be going left to right, Castleton right to left here in the first half, 45-minute halves. Women's college soccer from Sporting Stadium at Castleton, number 00, Deanna Amoya, 5'6" junior from Tappan, New York, and Sarah Shilstone, a 5'5" freshman from Deer Park, New York. Chris Chapdelaine, I had an opportunity to talk to Chris a couple of days ago, about a week or so ago, along with Sarah Ethier on a show called Spartan Pride, which is shown on PEGTV Channel 20 periodically. We've already taped the show. It hasn't been shown as yet. We taped several shows over the last week or two. And Coach Chappie certainly very pleased with the freshman, and certainly that senior leadership. Sarah Ethier, who's not out there right now as one of the starters, certainly will be playing quite a bit as the game progresses tonight.
And, you know, Jack, just a really exciting things to come. Again, I had alluded to it before, that if these freshmen are able to, you know, have the composure at this level, at the college level, and be able to put balls in the back of the net as freshmen, I mean, that's just great things to come for this Castleton Spartan team.
Kelsey Garceau's a forward from St. Albans, Vermont. We mentioned has 5 assists on the year. That's tied for number 11 in the country in Division III. And right now, as we get started, there is no wind. It's virtually at a standstill here, which is surprising to me after what we saw about 10 minutes ago. But still, it is a driving rain as RPI controls along the near side on the right wing. Sarah Rothschild, number 9. And the restart for RPI.
Yeah, just a small foul. You're going to see a lot of fouls, Jack. Again, with the footing being as it is, it's going to get sloppy out there. And some plays that are close, you're going to see bodies going down. So you're probably going to see a little more whistles. Another reason why the referee probably wants to keep control of the game is to prevent any injuries on an unsure field like this.
Thiessen fired it through the area from the near sideline, knocked back out to about the 30 for the Spartans as RPI looks to put on some offensive pressure. Garceau back. Garceau again knocking it away for Castleton in the white uniforms. Right across the area, the top of the box. The shot blocked from the top of the goalkeeper's box.
Jack, I got to tell you, I was surprised that that ball made its way all the way through from the near side corner just about and skipped past about 2 Spartan players. And if it wasn't for, I didn't catch the number in front, but if it wasn't for that Castleton defender right there, I think it would have been in the back of the net. But nevertheless, we have a corner on the far side.
It's Goodsell on the corner from the far side here for RPI. And the corners, of course, Mike, as you know, the start of so many scoring opportunities. And can I ask you, and it probably doesn't go hand in hand completely, if you dominate in corners, chances are you're going to be dominating on the scoreboard too.
Well,
or does it always come out that way, or certainly not always, I would assume, but
nice shot on net right there by RPI. Well, it does dictate one thing, that you are possessing the ball in the opposing team's defensive half. So you are putting an offensive charge on. And generally, when you keep the ball in the offensive half of the field, you're going to have more scoring opportunities, thus probably be in control and in the lead of the game. So, I think that's probably a good estimate on the control of play and how dominant you are is by the corners, but I wouldn't take it as gospel.
I guess no more so than saying if you dominate shots on goal, you would be dominating on the board as well as far as scoring is concerned, except that you have more shots, and so mathematically speaking, you would think that you would, since you had more shots, you'd score more goals, but it doesn't always happen. Jessica Phillips, number 14 for the Spartans, as Shillstone will boot it out of there, the Spartan goalkeeper. No score, about 3 minutes in here, first half at Castleton Spartan Stadium. And I'll say again, the weather is actually about 50% better now than it was 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, the rain, again, without that breeze, it really it seems a little more bearable out there. Not that it's ideal conditions. And I think that's a handball, Jack, on the far side.
And RPI again on the restart from the far sideline.
So Castleton's going to back up, hold themselves right at the 18 right now, see what kind of foot we have the ball being played in.
Just about to the 18. Headed out of there by the Spartans.
So just for our viewers at home, Jack, and sometimes I fall into those references as a soccer coach, the 18, the 12, the 6. The 18 is 18 yards out, and I'll pick that up after this offensive burst here. Looks like we'll have another corner for RPI in the near side this time.
Number 8, Bombardier, and number 9, Sarah Rothschild for RPI, and RPI second corner. Nikki Goodsell is number 14, right through the top of the 6-yard box, and Goodsell comes over and plays it on the right wing.
Oh.
And that just
far post runner right there. Almost
volley was
got a
coming
foot
down
on
to the left wing side. Number 12 almost got a foot on it on a nice cross.
Yeah.
For Goodsell.
And Goodsell was actually the one who took the corner, came all the way out of the zone, and then came back to get that ball as it was being played out. She had to come back onside. She would have been offside if she simply stayed in the corner and waited for it to come there. But I wanted to go back, Jack, and just some of the terminology right there is the 18 is where the penalty box starts. The very top line of the penalty box. It's obviously 18 yards off of the end line. The 12 is where what I refer to is where the PK stripe is. If there's a penalty kick, that's where the spot is taken from inside of the box, like a handball or a push in the box. That's 12 yards off of the end line. We refer to that as the 12. And then the goal box, the goalkeeper's box, is the smaller box that's inside of the penalty area, and that is 6 yards off of the end line. So when soccer, a coach or a field player refers to the 6, the 12, the 18, that's what we're talking about.
Inside the 18, inside the 12 or the 6, and the 12 is where as you mentioned, the PK is just about straight on.
And fields do vary in size and length. Sometimes you have 100-yard fields from end line to end line, 120, 110. But those measurements never change. 18 for the penalty box, 12 yards for the penalty stripe, and then 6 yards for the goalkeeper's box. Those change.
RPI right now, for the most part, territorial advantage, and if the wind would pick up the way it is, or the way it was at the beginning, as we said about 20 minutes ago before we actually came on the air here, RPI would have to be satisfied with being scoreless at this point. But right now there is hardly a wind at all.
And RPI has actually, we're just in the opening moments here, of course, Jack, but they have controlled the ball very well. Some good touches on the ball, some nice one-touches as well in the central part of the field. And right now, really dictating the game to Castleton.
That was Gianna Abali who had it last for RPI, but Sarah Shilstone will boot it out. The Castleton goalkeeper to your right. 38:09 to go first half. It's scoreless. Women's soccer action here at Spartan Stadium at Castleton. We talked about how Castleton is the defending North Atlantic Conference champion women's soccer and has lost some seniors, including the most prolific scorer in the history of the Castleton soccer program, in Courtney Chadburn, who was an assistant coach, yet still, with all the freshmen, still voted by the league coaches as the preseason choice to win it.
Well, again, and I had said before, Jack, they have some really solid pieces there to work around. But also, how easy is it for Coach Chapdelaine to go out and recruit great players, to his program when you are the conference champion? I mean, you just really, the great players in New England and beyond are going to look to you as their first choices. So it makes it so easy for him. And that takes nothing away from the hard work that he does to recruit. But it's always nice when you have a couple of titles in your back pocket. As the weather starts to pick up again, Jack.
Actually, I'd said RPI would have to be happy. Actually, they have the wind at their backs in the first half when the wind does pick up, and the wind's picked up again here. Actually, it would be Castleton that would be happy to have a scoreless tie with the wind at their back in the second half.
Thus going uphill, basically, is how they must feel right now. A nice ball down the line.
Looking to chase it down. That's Brooke Van Bosch, who's a 5'7" junior from Loganville, Georgia. Might add, despite the heavy rain and the winds, the temperature is rather pleasant. It's in the 60s, so that's not too bad. Shilstone again on the kick.
Certainly would add insult to injury if it dropped another 10 or 20 degrees, but it's not too bad out there. When it gets really cold like that, you just worry about pulled muscles because the body just can't stay warm, obviously, and that's running back and forth and up and down the field, just so much strain on the body. Looks like we're gonna have another RPI corner, Jack. This will be their third one right now of the game and of the first half.
So so RPI again is with the territorial advantage, and there is number 14. That again is Nikki Goodsell.
Gosh, and you can just see that rain coming down.
And it's starting to come down sideways again. There, right in front, hit the crossbar, up above Shilstone. As the wind picked up again, and I know we're referring to it a lot, but it's certainly a factor now when there is a wind, and that was the closest that RPI or either team has come to a scoring opportunity.
Yeah, best opportunity right there of the game, Jack, and that came off of, you can see the replay right here on your screen. As the ball is sent in, it's going to bounce straight down and back up and hit the crossbar. And, the rebound was left right out in front there, but third corner opportunity and our best scoring chance of the game. So many goals come off of restarts, Jack, whether that's in the center part of the field or on a goal kick like that. 3/4 of your goals are coming off of restarts right there.
That was Tietzen who had the opportunity in close, and it just hit the crossbar. Rachel Tietzen, number 18, a forward, 5'8" junior from Kelowna, British Columbia. A throw in for Castleton. The action in the middle of the field now and across the way. Castleton in white and RPI in black and red.
And Castleton, again, having a hard time controlling and getting it deep inside of the RPI zone.
One of the reasons now, even though that was the case earlier when there was no wind at all, but now the wind has picked up and it is really strong again. As you mentioned, it would be gusting and probably periodic. But as the time ticks down in the first half, and certainly a long way to go with 35 minutes to go in the half, if you can get out of here scoreless or even trailing by a goal, you've got to be pretty happy of your Castleton.
Jack, I really can't express enough in the time that I've been involved in soccer. I've really never seen rain and a game go on with rain coming down like this.
It's a sport, as you know, Mike, and you have been a goalkeeper in both ice hockey and certainly in soccer. It's a sport where, because of conditions like this, especially where, and you would see upsets anyway. And you and I are familiar with the high school sports scene here, where you've seen number 16 seeds defeat number 1 seeds in the playoffs in both boys and girls soccer. And obviously, you can get a hot goalkeeper and get a break and win a game 1-0. But you see that, or at least as far as I know, and you can elaborate on it, you see that when you have days like today when there is a strong wind.
Mama said there'd be days like this. I tell you, the game of soccer is played on the surface of the field, so the conditions are so important. It's not like football where the play is above the field. You have a ball carrier. The game of soccer is played on the field, so you have less than ideal conditions or really poor conditions. It levels the playing field, and a number 1 seed could easily go down to a 16 seed.
Kelsey Lenny, number 19, taps it to her goalkeeper, and that's again Sarah Shilstone, freshman goalkeeper from Deer Park, New York. On the boot, scoreless with just under 32:30 to go in the first half. See the wind take the ball a little bit, and that's on the ground, as you can see. Gets it out to about the 40. RPI with most of the territorial advantage here in the first half. Pitzella's number 14. Right across toward the top of the goalkeeper's box, and then from about the 18, it rolls in on Shilstone.
Shilstone's been very active here, and she's had to come out on 3 different corners right now on a ball in like that. That's great for a goalkeeper in weather like this to stay active. You turn to the other side of the field, and you have your goalie that's been sitting there without any action, freezing cold, and when the opportunity comes that she's going to have to make a save, you wonder if she's up for the job because she's been sitting for so long.
Castleton gets on the RPI side of the field for the first time, but RPI picks it up again. You have Amoya on the other side, and not only not a lot to do, she's just getting soaking wet just standing there off to our left.
Again, Castleton is starting to get the ball. And they're going to have her pull back a little bit. But Castleton is finally broken into the zone here. They need to have some high pressure right now. Here's their first opportunity to control the ball inside of the RPI end. They really need to pressure that ball. Try to cause a turnover.
Good sell, number 14, number 28 for RPI, Shannon McGuire. Try to get something going offensively, and it rolls back to Shilstone, and she'll punt it out of there. So did you think when they had the toss of the coin that RPI did elect to go with the wind in the first half?
That would have been, again, that would have been my hope, or that would have been me if I was the coach out there. Try to pop that goal in early and then pack it in after that.
Yeah, you don't think of going against the wind, saying, okay, we'll just hold them, because you don't know.
No, you're freshest at the beginning part of the game.
Plus, you're not sure what the conditions might be in the second half.
Exactly.
The throw in for Tietzen, who came, I believe it was Tietzen who came ever so close to scoring that goal that hit the crossbar earlier. Backtracking, number 8 is Bombardier.
Again, here's our chance right now for Castleton to get some high pressure in there, try to cause a turnover. We're finally inside of the zone of RPI.
That's Mallory Costello, who's number 22 for Castleton. She's a freshman from Vernon, New Jersey, was not the original starting lineup.
And Mallory, as we said, Jack, in our pregame show, is 6 goals, 14 points right now on the season.
Scoreless with just under 30 minutes to go in the first half. Castleton and Rensselaer, RPI, the Engineers, and the Spartans. Sarah Shilstone.
This one's going to skip out right there, and should have a goal kick for Castleton, and we will.
Calculate Mike Coppinger and our producer here at Spartan Stadium, Cam Clark, and Mike Ballantyne, and also Chris McCormick at PEGTV Channel 20, and our camera people are Lily Derbyshire and Brian Bashaw. Restart for Castleton. As you can see, the driving rain here at Spartan Stadium. And fired out.
Miscommunication right there by RPI as two ladies were going for the ball, but still they came away with it. And nice ball down the line on the near side.
And Bosch through the goalkeeper's box, and Shillstone had to come out and smother it as RPI had another opportunity, just misconnected on a play in front.
Well, Shillstone called for that ball as it was coming through. She thought it was going to be kind of a routine play. Didn't see out of her right-hand side an RPI player coming in fast.
RPI with another opportunity, but backtracking. This is it again here on the right wing coming in. Van Bosch straight across.
Yeah, she called for the ball originally, but then had a player coming in, and I didn't catch number, Jack. And normally the fullback right there would probably take it, but if your goalkeeper calls it, you have to back off and let her make the play. As Jack, the rain comes down even harder right now. I just can't get over this.
Well, that's what they have the artificial turf surface for. If they didn't have it, there wouldn't be a game tonight. That's for sure.
And I gotta credit President Walk here for giving us these palatial press box to be able to watch the game from.
Pizza number 18 was going to have it on the throw-in. It's going to be Castleton now on the throw-in. One of the rare times across the center line into RPI territory. Now, we mentioned this, when you send it back to your goalkeeper, when a defender sends it back, one of your own players.
If it's a deliberate pass back to the goalkeeper by their own player, they cannot handle it with their hands.
Exactly.
So that's why you saw her play it out with her foot right there. If it's headed back, if it's chest back, it's perfectly fine to pick that up. Otherwise, you'll be called for what's called a back pass, and it will be an indirect kick from the spot where the pass was made from.
It's going to be a throw-in for Castleton along the near sideline. Jenna Bostwick, who is from Pembroke, Massachusetts, scoreless with 25-10 to go in the first half here at Spartan Stadium, women's soccer. Bostwick again on the throw-in for Castleton along the near side, number 17. One of the rare times. This is about as deep as Castleton's been in RPI territory here in the first half.
And so far, there seem to be penetrating with throw-ins right now. We have a throw-in even deeper inside the zone on the near side. This will be Bostwick on the throw-in.
Garceau's in close. 3 or 4 players within the 18 for Castleton, but out of trouble here comes RPI. Long pass on the right wing. It goes to Goodsell. Goodsell trying to move it in through the area, but over to player Shillstone for Castleton.
Again, I think Castleton needs to give more pressure inside of the defensive zone of RPI, and they might be able to get some turnovers right there. They allowed RPI to carry the ball about 20 yards before there was any pressure put on them.
Shannon McGuire, number 28 for RPI, number 14 again, Goodsell.
Great pressure there to cause that turnover. And here we go right here. We need to have high pressure. When it goes to the goal, you probably want to back off a little bit, but latch on to some of the players that are on either side.
Alex Shaw that sent it back to her goalkeeper, Amoya, who again could not use her hands, getting the Pass back from one of her own players deliberately. Bosch is 22. Van Bosch for RPI midfielder from Loganville, Georgia.
Hey, Jack, we're going to get a trip on the far side. You can see right where Kixie Austin, the referee, is standing. A little bit of clip after that ball was passed off by a Castleton player, so we'll have an RPI free kick on the far side. Kind of a danger zone right here because what they're looking to do is loft it up inside the box and hopefully cause a frenzy in front.
Still an opportunity to go across the line, or is it offside?
Looked like it was offside,
Yep.
Jack, which is interesting to me because when the ball is played in, if it was played in the direction of where that player was running, she can, after the ball is kicked, she can run into an offsides position. But I think because it hit somebody out in front, she needed to tag back up to get onside, and she didn't do that, so that's why it was whistled offsides. The referee on the near side pulled the flag.
Looking to run it down for the Spartans. Garceau on the left wing. Gets it inside the 18 for a rare time. That might have been the first or second time for Castleton here in the first half. Back out to about the 40. Garceau couldn't play it, and it is played by McGuire for RPI.
And that ball was just booted upfield. It didn't even look like it had an intent to it. It was just cleared right into the goalkeeper's box.
Shillstone, goalkeeper for the Spartans. Erica Davis, who were in her own right, has been a goalkeeper, number 21. She's a goalkeeper slash defender. Defender here tonight from Cambridge, Vermont.
And Erica, I'm testing my memory right here, but Erica, I think, logged just about every single minute of every single game last year in goal for Castleton. Another throw in, just about the same spot as the one before, Jack.
Trying to get it inside the 18. Awaiting was Davis out at about the 40, but it's controlled again by RPI, and then was across along the near side, and we'll have a throw in for Castleton. And it will be Davis. Costello is number 22. Boswick's number 17. Kenna Morrissey is number 11 for the Spartans. Good sell, number 14, awaiting a pass. Came along the near side for number 18, Tietzen.
I think that ball came out on the near side as I see the flag was pulled by the referee's assistant. We'll have a Castleton throw in here on the near side.
Certainly Castleton initially going against the wind, what we had here in the first half, and every second that goes by with no scoring, good for Castleton, or any second that goes by with no wind at all, good for Castleton. But RPI on the offense here. Baritko, good sell, and then try to go back to Van Bosch, out, and it's going to be RPI here on the throw-in. That's Tietzen.
Oh, skipping through again, Jack. This ball is just so hard to play when it comes off the ground like that because it picks up speed, actually, when it does hit the surface. It picks up speed more so than it would on a dry surface, so that's why some of those balls are able to get through into the box.
Scoreless with 19:40 to go in the first half. Women's soccer action from Spartan Stadium at Castleton. Castleton and RPI. Castleton on the throw-in along the far side. Morrissey's number 11 for the Spartans. Throw it now for RPI. Here in the first half, 3 corner kicks for RPI. RPI has had the scoring opportunities, none for Castleton. RPI at 3-3 on the year. Castleton at 4-2-1. It's a non-league game. If you're thinking ahead, and there's still a long way to go with 18:20 to go in the first half, there are 2 10-minute overtime periods if it's tied at the end of regulation for sudden victory of the golden goal. And if nobody scores after the 2 10-minute sudden victory overtime periods, it does go into the books as a tie, at least during the regular season. That's the way I understand it. So,
and we do have a lot of soccer to play here, Jack. But you know,
always a possibility.
Always a possibility, sure. But it goes again. You know, I had said at the very beginning that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of points on the board today because, you know, because of the conditions and both the teams able to put the ball in the net. And so far, they're proving me wrong right now.
Now I do defer to our soccer expert, Mike Coppinger, who played soccer and also is a soccer coach in the Rutland, Vermont area.
But I'm no Swami.
But in my opinion, I'm thinking, well, if he says there's going to be a lot of points on the board, so be it. As far as I can see, I think it's going to be like 1-0, but what do I know? Just checking in is Shelby Stromerson, a defender, 5'6" freshman from Snohomish, Washington. And I have no idea, or Snohomish, Washington. I have no idea that I'm pronouncing that correctly, but
you got to figure that's near the Canadian border. I just something tells me.
Opportunity within the 6, within the goalkeeper's box again for RPI, but the shot didn't get all the way through. You know, one thing also as well, we all know about the, I believe it was last year, wasn't the Castleton women's soccer team the highest grade point average of all the sports here? I'm not sure, but I know all the sports teams at Castleton do very well academically, of course. Number one, they wouldn't be able to play if they weren't doing well academically, but as President David Walk likes to say from Castleton, I've heard him say it many times, that the average, the grade point average for a player that's an athlete who plays on one of the teams, the grade point average of athletes is higher than the grade point average of the student body as a whole. So that's the situation with Castleton. PI engineers, they're very good in math. I'm pretty sure.
I would think so. But
I mean, really good in math.
As we have RPI's 4th corner of the game right now. Nice ball sent into the box.
And again, a nice ball there by number 14, Nikki Goodsell, who has been right on the corners.
And I just want to go back to, you were talking about the academics of the Castleton players, and you always hear President Walk refer to them as the student athlete. You know, of course they're students first and athletes second, but you know, they are second to none in how serious they take their education. And
I wanted to take it back as soon as I said the women's soccer team, because in case they're not, I don't want to, you know, that's why I changed it from academically the leading academic team on campus, in case they weren't. So I changed that to what I've heard President Walk say a lot about, as we just mentioned, the students that are playing sports have a higher grade point average than the students on campus as a whole. So just in case, because I know all the teams, of course, do very well at Castleton academically. Scoreless with 14:45 to go in the first half.
Again, RPI controlling inside of the Castleton defensive half. Good stick right there by Erica Davis.
Erica Davis, who we mentioned, a goalkeeper a year ago. Yeah, and a goalkeeper this year, too. She's in the roster as both. Kaylee Newton is the other goalkeeper for the most part. Shillstone and Newton. Newton from Morrisville, Vermont, and Shillstone from Deer Park, New York.
Jack, the other thing in a game like this, and any game, of course, but certainly a game like this, you want to get out of it without any injured. You know, again, we've talked about the playing surface and how unpredictable it is. And it is hard to get a footing. And you just want to, you know, get out of a game like this and no one hurt. Certainly a non-league game as well.
Jessica Phillips, number 14, a freshman from Drewsville, New Hampshire, is checking in. It's number 11, Lauren Brumbaugh, who just checked in. Now for RPI, Spartans also had a substitution here as we have the throw-in for RPI's Stromerson. See, Healey Roberge is out there, number 15. Number 6 is in there. She just checked in. Jillian Fifield, 5'5" freshman from Lindaf, New Hampshire. Not only is Mike Coppinger a mathematical whiz himself, but and also a soccer guru, but you're a politics guy.
I don't know where you're going with this.
It was, where did I see? Drewsville, New Hampshire. Am I mistaken? Is Drewsville, New Hampshire? That's where Jessica Phillips is from, number 14 for RPI. Is that the, I could be, never mind, I think it's Dixie Notch.
Dixville Notch.
Dixville, yeah.
The first to vote on the...
In the presidential primary,
right.
or the presidential...
the primary, you're correct.
Yeah, the primary, or, the primary. So, But anyway, I take it back because that's not the town.
Dixville Notch,
so never mind.
It's a population of about 300 or so.
The throw-in for the Spartans.
That's pretty good, Jack, being an election year right now. That was good.
Yeah, except I was wrong.
You're in the right church, wrong pew.
Roberge is number 15. That's the first actual shot that it's certainly not on goal, but the first time that Amoya has had to play it even this way by the goal kick. Hasn't had that opportunity yet. RPI going left to right with the wind when it does pick up, and it's virtually still right now. So, as I mentioned, even though it picks up periodically, maybe not quite as much of a factor as I originally thought, but the rain continues to come down here at Spartan Stadium. Rico's number 15 for RPI.
RPI very composed with their one touches and playing these small balls around Castleton. Very impressive.
Got the pass again from Rothschild on the right wing. It was again Karitko. Back out toward the center part of the field, and playing it is Costello for the Spartans down the middle, and it went to Sammy Ritter, another freshman. Back to the goalkeeper is Amoya. Gets it out of there for RPI, the Engineers. Jessica Phillips, number 14 for Castleton. It's RPI in black and red, Castleton in white. Fifield, number 6 for the Spartans, who played it a moment ago. Number 22 is Van Bosch for RPI. Substitution coming up for RPI. Jade Baumrein, number 10, checking in for RPI. We have another corner coming up for the Engineers. Again on the corner, it's Nikki Goodsell. One of the captains is, this is Baumrein checking in now, and Baumrein into participate in the corner. Inside the goalkeeper's box, headed out of there by the Spartans, back out toward the top of the 18 and all the way back out to about the 40.
And again, that was Erica Davis with a nice header, get it out of the zone.
Shilstone over to grab it.
Nice smother save right there by Shilstone.
And that was Goodsell right there at the doorstep. Bumped just a bit was Jillian Fifield. I said Fifield. That is number 6 there, is it not, or is that number 8? Talking about for Castleton over here near side, Mike. It is 6, yeah, that is Fifield.
Oh, breaks through the Castleton defense there. Well, throwing deep inside of the Castleton zone. That was Phillips coming over to knock that ball out as RPI was starting to gain some momentum.
Throw in for the RPI Engineers. Most of the first half has been in the Castleton end, and one hop to Shillstone. Inside the area with Baumrein right there, but Shillstone made the play easily. On the far side, the throw in for Castleton.
Well, Jack, in some areas of the field, you can actually really start to see it starting to pool up a little bit inside of the Castleton defensive zone. On the far side, you can kind of see the rain starting to gather over there. There's a spot inside of the RPI area right in the middle, almost where the kickoff, I think, would be in college football. You can see it starting to pool right there. But really in the Castleton end, you can see it starting to build up.
On the far side, Castleton battling for possession. The RPI Engineers controlling now in Castleton territory. 6:30 to go in the half, and it is scoreless.
And that's right, their area right there. You can see the screen a little bit. It's really shining, and it is starting to pool right there. You can see the raindrops on your screen hitting that area right there. That's going to be a tough area right there for a ball to get played through or a player to get good grip on.
0-0. 6:10 to go in the half. Richter number 15 on the move for RPI. Brombaugh, number 11 for the Engineers. Down to the 6-yard area by the Spartans, back out to about the 30. And it'll be the throw in for Castleton. Headed by Mallory Costello. Here's Costello on the left wing. Costello down the middle has Ritter with her. There's Ritter right at the top of the 18. Couldn't quite control. Knocked out of trouble by the Engineers, and Stromerson knocks it out to about the 35. Oswick knocked it down for the Spartans and knocked back through the puddles now. The standing water all the way back into Castleton territory.
Costello gave some good pressure right there and had some hustle in her to help get an offensive burst right there. Ritter just couldn't find the handle as she was trying to play it. And here it is right here. Just
overran it as we took a look at it again. Just about at the top of the 18 for the Spartans.
And she was surrounded by RPI defensemen, so I'm not sure whether she'd be able to get the shot off, even if she was able to get it on her front foot.
Moya. Now you can really see it now. It's the artificial turf surface, and it really does hold the water well. But I mean, it won't hold it forever. I mean, it's got to have standing water sooner or later, and there is standing water now, and the ball just kind of getting stuck in the water a little bit. The standing water on the field here.
Nice turnover here.
This will slide and skid. Now this is where you will see, instead of getting the true bounce, you'll see the ball skid a little bit. As some wholesale changes for RPI. Kelsey Byrne is in. Number 4 is Emily Eastman in for RPI. Number 16, is Michaela Mastrullo in, to name a few. 3-for-3 substitution for Coach Court Farmer of the RPI Engineers.
And Jack, it looks like it was a couple of adjustments on both sides, both offensively and defensively for the RPI Engineers right there.
All just kind of sticking in the water. He's that now. We talked about the reflection from the lights earlier, but that a lot of that you see there is now standing water.
And right there's a perfect example of that ball dying right there as that pass was trying to be made. And at the looks like there's a foul called. And yes, this is it's an interesting spot right here now, Jack. It's in that water area that we talked about. So this ball will be sent in, but you really have to wonder what kind of yeah, you can see
and there's
it
the
right.
bump again,
yeah.
and there's the.
But it'll be interesting to see what kind of grip they get on the ball as it's sent in right now into the box and hit a host of Castleton players. And they in that puddle again.
Actually, that was more to show where the ball was. I said there's the bump again, but actually the call was the other way around against Castleton, so that was not the play. It was just a play of where we saw where the ball went skidding across the water. But scoreless, 0-0 with 2:20 to go first half here at Spartan Stadium. Women's soccer. Let's kick back. Again, as we mentioned, when that happens from the defender, the goalkeeper cannot use her hands. Should be the throw. 0-0.
Oh, good shot there.
It's a shot that goes wide.
Yeah, I think Castleton needs to be a little bit more patient once they get it up inside of that offensive zone. But of course, time ticking down. Sure, they'd like to pop one in here going into halftime.
Especially because when the wind comes up, Castleton will have the wind at its back in the second half. That was Boswick that took that shot, by the way. Minute 15 to go in the half. It's 0-0. We're going to chase it down. That's Osmer, Emily Osmer from a great high school career at nearby Mill River Union High School. She's out of Wallingford, Vermont.
And you can see her make a plant right there, and her feet just fell out from underneath her.
0-0, 52 seconds to go in the half.
It is really getting sloppy out there. And at this point, it's in the referee's hands as to whether they want to postpone the game. Castleton has an opportunity here.
Costello, number 22, was the Castleton player with that opportunity. Back out toward the center part of the field with 25 seconds to go in the half. It's 0-0. Castleton and the RPI Engineers. This first half is going to end about the way I thought it would. 0-0 or 1-0. It's going to be 0-0. Of course, the soccer guru said a lot of points on the board still might happen, but certainly didn't happen in the first half. It is scoreless here at halftime at Spartan Stadium. Jack Healey, Mike Coppinger, and our producer is Cam Clark. Our producers at PEGTV Channel 20 on the Rutland Comcast system, Mike Valentine and Chris McCormick. Our camera people, Lily Derbyshire and also Brian Bashaw. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back. We'll have first half statistics. Not much to report on. A 0-0 tie here at halftime, Castleton and Rensselaer. We'll be right back.
Why did I choose Castleton?
Castleton is big enough, so there's a lot to do. It's small enough so I can really get involved.
Sports.
Theater and music.
Radio and TV.
Internships and community service. There's a real sense of community.
And lots of opportunity.
And Castleton is in Vermont.
That means hiking, biking, skiing, and riding.
Visit castleton.edu to learn more about Castleton.
Jack Healey, Mike Coppinger waiting for the first half stats. RPI and Castleton, a game that was some 30 minutes before the start of the game. It was a strong, gusty wind blowing left to right. RPI had the wind at its back, and certainly you would think an advantage in the first half. But the wind calmed down quite a bit. It gusted a few times. The wind has calmed down a little bit right now, and the coaches and the officials are talking here. The RPI coach had been out at midfield a moment ago. I believe that it's hard to tell from here. That's Chris Chapdelaine out there right now talking to the referees as to the condition of the field. As you can see, and if you were with us during the first half or just joining us, it is absolutely torrential rain. And finally, they are getting standing water on the field here. Certainly artificial turf at Spartan Stadium. If it were not, this game never would have been played in the first place. But there no field. I mean, it can only take so much before there's standing water, and it is really coming down.
If this was on a regular grass field, we never would have started the game. No. But this is tough. I mean, we are one step away from animals lining up 2 by 2 here. So, and right now you can see on your screen the officials making their way. It looks over to the RPI area. Well, now they're coming back. But I would not be shocked, Jack, if they decided that. Well, Kixie Austin, the head referee, looks like he's calling them over.
And Chris is calling his team up, or I guess maybe the captains, or no, the entire team. Now, you got to see if they are.
I mean, the field, Jack, I mean, you could just see it. It's creeping from the center part of the field towards the sidelines, the standing water that we're talking about. You can see from your screen right there, even closest to the sideline nearest us, you can see the raindrops hitting the field. That is standing water right there. I would be shocked if they decided to continue with this game at this point.
Now, is he asking the opinion of his players, or is he?
It's the referee's discretion. My understanding is prior to the game starting, it's the home field, the officials on the home field, that would be the athletic director and such, and the field crew to make the determination. Once the game begins, it is solely in the hand of the referee. And
it's raining harder now than it has been.
Most definitely.
It's been really coming down all along anyway.
And the officials are on the near side right here, walking towards the center half. Looks like.
They are calling it now. The girls are sliding. This is
slip and slide out there.
Now, before we leave you, I want to make sure. I want to talk about the first half stats. They are going to call it here 0-0 at halftime. I want to know if they are going to cancel the game or, let's say, resume it at possibly tomorrow. See if you can find that out, Mike, for us. Again, apparently the game has been either canceled or has been, let's say, suspended, and we got to wait for the definitive answer on that. But Mike has gone to the press box nearby. 0-0, just a torrential rain here at Spartan Stadium. Jack Healey with Mike Coppinger, and we're just waiting to get the word here. And also, we would like to run by the stats that we had. We know that there were no corner kicks for Castleton in the first half, and RPI had at least 3, possibly 4 in that first half. Really not a lot to say in a 0-0 game. We should have the stats here in just a moment, too, but they have called it. The game has been either canceled, this is a non-league game, or it will be suspended. What is the story? Mike Coppinger is back with us. What have they decided to do?
Well, there's no decision right now. It's a non-conference game, so the likelihood that they would probably make it up is probably narrow. If it was a league game having to do with
different story,
yeah. So again, I'm sure that everybody wants to get home tonight. Trying to do a game tomorrow is probably out of the question. And I don't even know if this field could come back. I mean, I'm hoping that it can drain down, but you can actually see it bubbling up in a couple of spots. But we do have the first half stats for you, Jack.
RPI had 5 corner kicks. Castleton had none. RPI did dominate with 4 saves for Sarah Shilstone for Castleton. No saves for Deanna Amoya for RPI. And RPI had the advantage win-wise, even though, as I've mentioned several times tonight, it did calm down considerably, so it was not as much of an advantage as it appeared to be before the opening of the game. But as I speak, the wind has picked up here. It would have been in Castleton's favor in the second half. And it says weather, downpouring and windy in the upper 60s. That's the weather on our stat sheet here. Craig Henson, by the way, is the other official. We had Kixie Austin, Kirk Abrahamson, Craig Henson, the officials, and really not much else to say. It was 0-0, and the game probably canceled. We, of course, don't know right now as to whether it would be suspended or not. I'm with you, Mike. I have a feeling that they probably are not going to bother with that, since it is a non-league game.
Since it is a non-league game, and
so I guess it goes into the books as a tie.
That's what I would assume. Half the game was played. I would assume that that's an official game. Call it tied at 0 and good.
And it's 4. If they do count it, and I think they would, it would be 4-2-2. The non-league, the overall record for Castleton. That does include a victory in one league game here for Castleton, and RPI at 3-3-1. So it was short-lived, but it gave us a little practice here for the rest of the season.
Exactly. And
Thank you to Mike Coppinger.
Great to have the folks at PEGTV on board for this one, and we look forward to a bunch more this year.
And we gave them half a game anyway. So for Mike Coppinger, Cam Clark, and our producers back at PEGTV Channel 20, Mike Valentine, also Chris McCormick, and also our camera people, Lily Derbyshire and Brian Bashaw, here at Spartan Stadium. Again, the story is, as you can see, the torrential downpour. They called the game at halftime, and we do believe that they are not going to resume it. We would find out certainly by tomorrow whether it will be resumed, but we believe it'll go into the books as a 0-0 tie. RPI and Castleton. So that does it for our coverage tonight of women's soccer. Good night, everybody, from Castleton's Spartan Stadium.